what Squadron 42 kind of feels like, except for that it's like, yep, over here, here's the story, here's what you can play, and then afterwards you beat this. If you want to come and play and exist in this universe, well, then we've got the persistent universe lined up, ready to welcome you in. And when it's all said and done, though, like same thing with Ashes, like I think that when it comes to theme park versus sandbox MMO RPGs, Ashes is trying to do kind of a hybrid. They're calling it a Sand Park, which I think is the future of the MMO, where when you log in, it's going to tell you all these things that you can go do. You choose what you want to go do and you do it. Or if you want to just be somebody who's a miner or a crafter or these kind of things, then you kind of exist. And I think Star Citizen has really positioned itself, from what I see. We'll have to wait to see how it plays out within the next couple of years. But it's that, yeah, you can just kind of exist in this universe. You can kind of carve out something that's, that you want. You can kind of define your goals. And I think that's one of the things that when I look at the complaints that are leveraged against Theme Park being the most successful MMO model on the planet, when you look at how gamers have been trained up for the MMO, as of like for you or Ultima Online, I was Final Fantasy 11, which was a sandbox MMO as well.
I think Ultima was a Sand Park, though, in reality.
Oh, yeah?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, obviously you couldn't change the terrain, but you could, you placed your own homes and there was a housing market and players were very much in control of the economy a bit. And WoW, I never played World of Warcraft because it destroyed the Ultima Online player base and it was nothing.
Same thing for 11. Like everybody was like, we're over here now. It's like, oh man.
It was nothing like what I was playing. And I'm just looking at this and I'm like, why would you want to play? They just simplified everything. And the theme park was part of that, I think. And it wasn't
That's what
great.
I liked about it. I found World of Warcraft wildly addicting because it was simple. It was a very clearly defined feature list.
Yep.
And you could view it as a bingo card. Like, I'm just going to go check these tiles.
Yep.
And there was a very clear definition of completion. You're like, today I'm going to hit this level and that is going to represent this. And today I'm going to go achieve this thing, and that is going to represent this.
Yeah, they took everything that was wrong with Ultima and whatever the other game was. I forgot the name of it now. At that time, that was really big, and just said these are all the things wrong with it. And players were complaining because it wasn't simple. Everything was so hard to figure out, and that's what I loved about it. But I know why WoW was popular for sure.
It was very easy to consume.
Yeah.
So popular, in fact, that Microsoft bought the company and has just announced that they're actually going to be adding in GeForce Now support for WoW. And so the question to the panel here,
the fact that Blizzard was anti, there was not a single game publisher better positioned to take advantage of GeForce Now than them. Period. Like the idea that I could take World of Warcraft on any device that has an internet connection and handle it, like. Constant state subscription-based MMOs are primed for this, and it blows my mind that time and time again they're like, no, you really need to own your own hardware. Why?
Yeah.
They could provide the hardware. Like it wouldn't even matter. It could be browser-based.
But then the next question is that do y'all see Xbox adding in WoW subscription into their Game Pass model? They just announced 34 million subscribers to Game Pass yesterday.
They did not with ESO. So I would use that as your I would use that as your metric.
Yeah.
Because they've done this before. They bought Zenmax. They brought in the base, and the base version of WoW, like you can already play. I think the base version, which allows you to play like up to a certain point, I think it's all the way up to the current expansion, then limits your interactions. Mm-hmm. That could be rolled in to like a Game Pass Ultimate or something.
Yeah.
Just like having Final Fantasy 14's free trial, now including the critically acclaimed Stormblood. That could be rolled in, but your full featured will stay subscription locked.
Yeah.
It's gonna be interesting for sure. It's gonna be interesting for sure, because like that in and of itself, would be kind of a game changer, even if it ended up not saying like, hey, if you want to play the current expansion, then be subscribed to this additional thing. But ultimately, we just want people in the game playing it, removing that barrier for entry. And when it comes back to the conversation about the subscription MMO, like we continue to argue that it is the most fair model for us, the player and the developer. It's established as a really defined relationship. So you're not having a developer going like, well, I guess we need to make another bikini so that we can keep, we can keep the servers up. Because like even with Pal World, for example, which was a massive hit, and me and my kids are playing it like all the time, they announced like, yeah, it's costing them $400,000 a month for the servers. Obviously, as that's going to ebb and flow, but you start to think about that and you're like, that's a lot of money. And how are you then choosing to monetize after that fact? And Star Citizen has an optional sub right now, and I'm wondering if that's going to continue, like as it went in, we get to the release. But then with MMOs, like Ashes is saying that they're going to have a subscription. PAX Day has announced that they're going to have a subscription, but they're also considering bringing in a Plex token or a WoW token into the mix. And since we kind of touched on all of those, I'd love to get your thoughts, Mike, on the bit, like on a financial business model. What do you think is working with Star Citizen? What do you think is not? And do you have concerns about like a token, like something that PAX Day is doing? Because I know a lot of people are frustrated by it. I am not, because my personal view is you'll never defeat, real money trade. You just never will, ever. If it was fixable, it'd be fixable. Humans want what they want, and there's going to be people in this world that are willing to open up their pocketbook, whether it's an official channel or it's a back channel.